Well, welcome to question 75 of the Secunda Secundae. The topic for today is derision. I'm Dr. Thibault. So derision is part of the topic of justice, the virtue of justice. It also, we're under the section of commutative justice, which is justice between individuals, more or less equals, versus distributive justice, which is between the part compared to the whole. So this is dealing with between people, and we already dealt with deeds, unjust deeds against commutative justice, which dealt with murder and maiming and hitting, imprisonment and theft and robbery. And now we are dealing with words, which are contrary to commutative justice, and we've already dealt with judicial issues prior to question 72, and now we are on extrajudicial words, which are contrary to commutative justice. We are almost ending this section of words against commutative justice. As you can see, we've already done reviling, backbiting, tale-bearing, and now we are on derision. Derision is another very short one with only 2 articles. Derision is done in jest. Therefore, it's described as making fun. That's in the contra. That's where that comes from. Sins of derision, they should be weighted chiefly in terms of their intention. So if we look at what we've already covered in terms of their intentions, what is the intention of a reviler or somebody who's a railer, somebody railing against someone? They intend to injure the honor of the person who they're railing. They're doing it to their face. Backbiting intends to depreciate a person's good name. It's speaking behind somebody's back to other people in order to have people think less of them. Turning their good deeds into bad intentions, or making up lies, or exaggerating their sin, or revealing something that didn't need to be revealed. Talebearers, as we just covered last time, they intend to destroy friendships, right? Speaking behind somebody's back like a backbiter, but doing it with the intention of destroying friendships in both directions, double tongue. And derider now is another one of these words, but it intends to shame the person who they deride, and they're doing it through making fun of them. So this is particularly making fun of them. And we dealt with this a little bit with reviling. There was some sections on reviling somebody to their face in a way that is making fun of them, right? Reviling this kind of abusive, violent language about somebody in response to anger and an attempt to get revenge. Deriding is a making fun of. So there's a little bit of a connection between a derider and a reviler, though not all reviling has any humor in it. The mode in which one derides is different than this other term, laughing to scorn. Laughing to scorn and derision are similar because they use laughter, but St. Thomas points out derision uses words and laughter. So you're making jokes, you're making fun of, you're making fun of somebody, versus laughing to scorn where you're not even using words. You just, as he points, you wrinkle your nose, right? You just point and laugh, right? You don't even have to say anything. Maybe the person has done something embarrassing and you don't even have to say words. You just laugh, laughing to scorn somebody. But the purpose of both of them really is to create shame. So both of them both of them are dealing with language in some regard, and both of them are trying to shame the person. He described shame in his response to objection 1 as shame. To shame somebody, somebody feeling ashamed, is to fear dishonor. So whereas reviling, the intention is to outright dishonor somebody, this is to shame somebody. So somebody's now afraid that they are being dishonored. A little bit different, I guess. because it's, a person who's being laughed at doesn't really know if the dishonor is going to stick, whether they really are being dishonored, are they laughing at me? You don't really know the effects of being laughed at while it's going on, but you have the fear of it going on. Um, so it's similar in its intentions, laughing to scorn and derision, but the mode is different because derision uses words as an addition to laughter. I don't know if that's interesting to anyone, but I thought it was. Uh, Derision is also a mortal sin in some regard and not a mortal sin in other regards. When a person's making fun, fun of somebody, making a game of somebody because of their evil or their defect of some kind, if it's just a slight evil, slight error, making fun of it might just be a venial sin, right? If it's just something a little bit silly. Now, this is, under the topic of reviling, this came up, right? How much, if it's just a joke and it's not intended to dishonor somebody, is it a sin at all? And what St. Thomas said is sometimes, if everybody's in on it and it's not a big deal, it might not be a sin at all, right? If I make fun of my friends, if my friend is a Yankees fan and they're losing, and I'm making fun of the Yankees to them, it might not be a sin at all because the person might get all worked up because they're a big Yankees fan, but there's nothing moral about this. It's not making fun of a moral defect. It's not lowering a person's nobility of character. It's not right. And if they're in on it, and when the Red Sox lose, they give me a hard time, right? If this is mutual and it's not about anything serious, then maybe it's not a sin at all. So this is, some to some degree, if you're picking up on a slight thing that you're making fun of, you're joking about, you're jesting about, maybe some physical characteristic about a person, that there's some slight deals more with evil, so maybe something that they're not particularly good at, something in their moral character, just a little bit of a thing. Maybe they get a little angry. They hold on to grudges too long, and you pick up on that, and you push it just a little bit too much. And it might be a venial sin if it's just a small slight of character. Um, Now, if you scorn the person altogether, then it's a mortal sin, right? If you're just really ripping the person apart, you don't have anything nice to say about the person at all, then it would be a mortal sin. And part of the difference on this that comes up is, if somebody were to revile you, right, they come right into your face and they're screaming this nasty thing about you to your face, and even if it's in front of other people, there's at least some virtue in it because at least they're taking you seriously. What St. Thomas points out is some of these times when somebody is scorning a person altogether, it can be an added level of mortal sin because you don't even respect the person enough um, to seriously attack them. It's just as I showed in this kind of picture up above. I know I try to stay out of politics, um, but an image like this, wherever you stand on Donald Trump, that's for you. But this type of mockery, right? It's a complete mockery of character. It's it's so strong that it's not saying I disagree with you on border issues. I disagree with you on immigration. I disagree with you on ways that you're communicating. It's just a complete mockery. It's right. It's kind of saying we take nothing about you seriously. You are a complete joke of a person. There is nothing serious about you. Um, yeah, I guess it's a better insult in some ways, if your intention is to insult. But it has a complete lack of respect. There's nothing even, somebody could say, I disagree with you on something that it might be even say something meaner by saying that. But at least the person, in some regards, is taking the person seriously. In this regard, it doesn't even take the person seriously. So there is some level of mortal sin when it comes to complete mockery of a person, because it completely dehumanizes them. St. Thomas also added in three other caveats to this in his response to Article 2, and that is that who you are deriding also matters as well. So if your derision, if your jokingness is God or God's holy things, then it's a whole nother level. It now is blasphemy. And this is an issue that comes up now. So a lot of famous comedians, they'll mock God, they'll mock the church, they'll mock the sacraments. These are things that are mortal for multiple reasons, but laughing at God is probably perhaps the worst thing you could deride. It would be God himself and God's holy things. So that is a whole nother level. The derision of one's parents, St. Thomas also holds it as a very serious thing. He uses this line of scripture from the Proverbs, the eye that mocketh his father, and despite this, the labor of his mother, hearing him, let the ravens of the brook pick it out, and the young eagles eat it. So this is a whole nother level as well, right? Quite violent. I'm not sure I really understand the imagery when it says the eye that mocketh. It's usually not the eye, it's the tongue. So I'm not sure why the eye is there, but the other one is derision of a good person is grievous, because the proper response to a virtuous person is to honor them. Honor is the proper response to virtue, not derision. Right? And he says it's particularly dangerous because here you are laughing at a good person. Maybe the person will stop being so good because you've made fun of their virtue, made fun of their good behavior. I used this example in the issue of reviling as well, where it is, what if you have a person who's very good and they go to church regularly and they read their Bible and pray the rosary and they do everything they should be doing, and a bully comes around and stops making fun of them. Now you might cause that person to stop their pathway to sanctity. Although they can never really stop it because it's individual, it is still an issue of you're trying to interfere with holiness. That would be a bad thing. And he says derision is less grievous because it does not imply contempt, but it says just, but it should say jest, but jest. But it is also a greater sin, and this is, as I discussed in the last slide, it's in some ways it's not as grievous because you're just joking, right? The intention isn't to dishonor in that regard, but is also more grievous because you don't even respect the person enough to attack their lack of character. So, and then in conclusion, derision is done in jest and it makes fun. It intends to shame a person or make a person fear that they're going to be dishonored. Derision is both an extra insult and less than an insult than reviling, backbiting, and tail bearing, because they don't even take the person seriously. So that's all I have on this topic, and we'll see you next time.